progress of time to time, tragedy to catastrophe, in all things give thanks. How in the world do we do that? There just seems to be a very significant challenge that we look upon these things and we say, well, yeah, that too, we give thanks. And Paul is stating that it's not conditional upon the circumstances of the world, but he says in all things give thanks. And that practice of gratitude, that attitude of gratitude, is very challenging. There's a feeling nature to gratitude. Have you noticed it, that when you feel thankful, there is something that feels thankful? That is, there is a feeling associated with that gratitude. And in my experience, that feeling of gratitude is very similar to that feeling of unconditional love. That if there is a harmony between the gratitude of the feeling of gratitude and the feeling of unconditional love, there's an opportunity perhaps for us to practice the feeling nature. It's really about a glass half full attitude, I think. There's in many things it's obvious what the benefit is to us, and it's easy to feel gratitude. In other things, there's an apparent benefit to friends or to loved ones, or for that matter to strangers, and it's easy also to feel gratitude for that. But those adverse conditions, those situations that you look upon these mass shootings and you say, well, how can I be thankful for this? What can I do to churn up that feeling, to gain that feeling of gratitude even about this? We might be reminded of the bard's assertion that all the world is a stage and we are just players in it. So the idea that even that, whatever that adverse situation is, even that we can be thankful. If we go back to that idea that, well, we're part of this whole process. We're players in this whole drama that we call life. One of the things that I keep coming back to is that evolution in both our physical structure, evolution in our mental awareness, evolution in society. Does society evolve into a higher order where equality is realized by all, where abundance is realized by all, where education is available to all? Or is society evolving into tribes and cliques from which we did evolve, but are we regressing to that, where we are of the opinion that there's only a limited amount of resources and we got to grab for all we can get? Well, it could be argued that evolution is inevitable and fundamental to how nature works. We have the evolutionary theories that have grown out of the last century and a half, that species evolve, that birds become more effective in dealing with their environment, that animals become more effective in dealing with the situations around them, that we are evolving. And So it could be argued that this is the way nature works, or for those theologically inclined, this is how God works. This is the plan that God has. I'm not a proponent of that, but I'm saying that evolution is something that's part and parcel of our idea of how the universe works. And it can also be argued that chaos is a necessary component of that. That if things are just fine the way they are, then there is no significant evolution that occurs. That there needs to be a pressure for change for the change to be initiated. Now, biologically, that's not exactly true all the time, but there is that external stimulus requiring a change either structurally or mentally or consciously, that we need to accommodate what is happening around us. So when we look at the idea that evolution is indeed a fundamental aspect of how we grow, how we change to accommodate the pressures, we can then look at the situation around us and we can see this stimulus over here and that change over there, and this situation over here is stimulating us to change to accommodate, not just to accommodate the situation, but to accommodate the path for our whole species, to accommodate that which is changing. In 1977, Ilya Prigogine, I am corrected about the pronunciation of his name. I called it Prigogine, but it's Prigogine. Ilya Prigogine won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry because of his work in chaos. And in fact, his work in chaos established a foundation for scientists of all breeds, of all types, whether biology or physics or chemistry or whatever, that they can enter into this realm of chaos, which 2,500 years ago the Greeks said was not something that can be resolved. It can't be studied. It can't be figured out. And in fact, until very recently, in the mid-70s, that was the idea, that chaos was not an area that science could engage. But Prigogine's work, Nobel Prize-winning work, opened the door to how we could, in fact, identify and study the aspects of chaos and not just predict, but to control how chaos evolves. And so that work has been instrumental in many different fields of science. But in his work, he showed that as we have more and more chaos, we are actually approaching a point where the paths through chaos will diverge. One will either diverge into total chaos, another will diverge into a higher order that will accommodate the pressures that are forcing the change. And so, as chaos is increasing, Prigogine's work says that that point of divergence is approaching. And as we approach that point of divergence, he said, it takes less and less influence for us to predetermine what the outcome of that divergence is going to be, either devolution into utter chaos or evolution into a higher order system. And so as we approach this point of divergence, and we can see the chaos in our social structures, we can see the chaos in our politics, we can see the chaos in our economies, we can see the chaos that is occurring in our personal lives. We can say, well, okay, yeah, this point of divergence, this path through chaos is becoming nearer and nearer, where we're going to determine what the outcome is. And we can individually have an influence on that outcome the closer we get to that point of divergence, to that what he called the bifurcation point. So if we look around and we see the chaos, we don't have to be thankful that, well, there's that shooting that occurred. I'm thankful for that. No, step back a little bit, take a greater view and say, boy, there's a tragedy that is affecting a large number of people, that the tragedy is rippling out along all of the lines of relationships emanating from that point of calamity. Take a step back and say, well, we are getting closer. We are getting closer to where this will be resolved, and I have more power to affect the outcome. Think about that. I have more power to affect the outcome. I may have to write letters. I may have to protest. I may have to engage conversations with people that I would not normally have conversations with. I will need to do something, maybe several things, for me to have influence. But my leverage in that influence is increasing as these calamities occur. That's a hard thing to get our hands around, but we are players on the stage of the world, and we do have influence. Even if our circle of influence is small, we do have influence, and that influence can be powerful as we approach that point of divergence. So we could say that Paul, in his exhortation to give thanks in all things, foretold the work of the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1977. That, those things are happening, but we can still give thanks. We can give thanks. We can give thanks. We can give thanks in all things. That's contrary to what our practice is. That's contrary to our intuition, I should say. That's contrary to where we would tend to go in our witnessing all of this stuff that's happening. But we are considerate beings. We are aware. We have the opportunity to intend for a different outcome. We have the opportunity to influence. And so let us use that influence. Let us use that influence of gratitude, of unconditional love. Let us use that influence that is becoming more and more powerful for each of us as we approach that point of divergence. And let us choose the divergent to the higher order. Let us avoid the divergence to utter chaos. We can do that. Give love before. Allow yourself to be the instrument of change. Allow yourself to be the influencer that allows someone else to look upon something with gratitude instead of animosity and fear. We are the important elements in this evolution. It's up to us. There is a piece by Karen Drucker, and I'd like to use this as a prelude to our meditation. Let me share with you.
blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
As we allow ourselves to come into this awareness of the blessings that are before us, the minor things, the major things, and everything in between, recognizing that our attitude determines our life experience, and it does. Thoughts we hold in mind manifest in our experience. So allowing ourselves in this awareness of the power that's always available to us to be thankful, appreciative, to experience gratitude. That's an intentional process. So in this quiet moment, let us consider the little things, the major things, the things that sometimes might pass our attention. Our ability to go to the refrigerator and retrieve fresh food. Our ability to pull out our cell phone and make a phone call to a friend. Our ability to step outside our door and not be confronted with someone trying to steal our car or rob us of our resources. Our opportunity in this moment to feel thankful So let us feel thankful. Let us get into the feeling nature of that experience. What does that feeling feel like? Where in our body does that feeling reside? What's the color? What's the flavor? What's the smell? What's the texture of that feeling of gratitude? Those are all ephemeral sensations, but try to get that embedded in your memory of what that feels like. That feeling experience brings us into the present moment. And that feeling experience does not have to be conditioned by external stimulus, but rather it can be recalled, can be brought into this moment as our current experience, if we remember it. But even the minor things in our life for which we can feel thankful will remind us of that feeling. But focusing on that feeling of gratitude, that feeling of gratitude sets the stage for the coming moment. That feeling of gratitude can bleed forward into that coming moment. It can be the foundation of that moment. It can be the embrace of that moment. And we can go about our business, we can go about our conversations, we can go about our studies with the embrace of this gratitude. And we can notice how our experience evolves from that practice. We can see how that gratitude embellishes our experience. And over time, we can acknowledge that this experience is preferable to fear, preferable to animosity. This feeling of gratitude can be our experience in all things, regardless of the adverse circumstances, regardless of the company we're keeping, regardless of what is next on our to-do list. We can have our moments undergirded by appreciation. In all things, give thanks. I'd like to share with you this image. This, my dear, is the greatest challenge of being alive, to witness the injustice of this world and not to allow it to consume our light. Breathing into that intention to witness the injustices of the world and not allow it to consume our light. And for this intention we give thanks. And so it is. I'd like to remind you that your contributions to this ministry is important not just for the present ministry, but also for the future of the ministry. And so as we take our contributions in our hands, we can bless them with divine love through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love because I trust in God. And Doug, if you would, let there be peace.
Each other every time it's speaking
prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.